You know, I got a question for you. Can a victim in a situation appear like the toxic person? Can the victim appear like they're in the wrong? Um, I've seen people call myself and other people who are trying to get medical help or medically injured people call us the toxic one or call us narcissists. Can we appear like the bad person, right? Uh, I think we can. I think we can appear and you know, uh, I've had people say to me, I've had lots of supportive comments too. I've had messages from people that have made me cry. Messages that really have made me want to keep fighting and keep going, right? Messages of hope and really kind words. But also I've had really toxic messages saying, "Well, look at you. Look who you are. Why would they want to help you? Why would any doctor want to help you?" Which I know these people can't, you know, they don't know the whole story, and they see you talking about the medical system in not a good way, and they think, "Well, why should they help you anyways?" When they don't know how many times you've been injured or whatever, right? Here's my analogy. It's like, let's say you went up to this cabin and there's a raccoon. You discover this raccoon in the corner. This raccoon is wild and it can't find its way out, and it's clawing, and it's an actual threat to you, right? So and you see this wild, you're in this cabin, you see this wild raccoon hunkered in the corner, and it's spitting at you, and it's going to attack you, and you think in your mind, well, this raccoon's a problem. I'm going to shoot it. This raccoon is a problem in my life right now. I'm going to shoot this raccoon. Is the raccoon a problem? You've got the raccoon cornered. The raccoon is acting wildly outside of its nature, outside of its normal behavior. It's wanting to attack you. It's got its fangs out. It's got its claws out, and it's backed up and standing up on its hind feet like this, and it's wide-eyed. Is the raccoon the actual problem, or are you the problem? Or this raccoon's in really bad circumstances and it's acting really badly, right? Because it's trapped, it's cornered, and now you're poking it with a broom, right? That's how I feel. Like I've been backed into a corner and under attack. It's weird how people perceive things, right? It's like you can start to, if there's a forest and you clear the land and you're building houses and you have wildlife come into your front yard, you have a bear come into your front yard or raccoons or whatever, and now you feel under threat. You feel that the bear is a threat to you. The bear is the problem. Is the bear really a problem, or are you the problem? Because you're in the bear's yard. You've taken the bear's home. You're in the bear's home. But you're looking at the bear like the bear is a problem, right? So you shoot the bear. The bear is the problem because the bear walked onto your front lawn, right? And I've recognized this. I can see this happening, but you can't explain to people that, like I've said this before in social media, they will make you crazy. They will terrify you and traumatize you and then call you crazy and make it look like you're the problem. I've seen good people under attack, sick, losing their minds, and acting crazy, right? One woman I know, she was very sick, under all sorts of attack, right? The medical system, what was going on in her home was insane. She didn't have the support she needed. She's out there putting sugar in someone's gas tank. She's attacking someone. She's hating on someone who has been literally evil to her. But if someone didn't know how evil they were, I'm not saying it's the proper thing and it's okay to put sugar in someone's gas tank. But what I'm saying is, if you didn't know what that other person, how they treated her, what they did to her, you'd think she's a Looney Tune out there putting sugar in someone's gas tank to wreck their vehicle. And I'm not justifying, I've never done anything like that, and I'm not justifying it. But if you see the whole picture, but if you don't know any of the background story, she would look like a lunatic, or she would look like the bad guy in the situation, right? I remember walking by, I was leaving a doctor's office, and I saw, I want to talk about energy. And I was leaving this doctor's office, and I walked by one room, and the door was wide open, and I saw the back of this doctor was sitting in a chair at his desk, and I could only see the back of him. And the energy that came off of this guy was just so fantastic. I never even saw his face. And I did a double take. I stopped and I looked. I did a double take. This was a good, decent person. I just left this other doctor's office who I did not get good vibes from. And I'm walking by this other office, and I'm like, who is this man? This is a good person. The vibes coming off of this guy was just phenomenal. And I stopped and asked a nurse, and I pointed to the room, and I said, who is that? What doctor is that in there? Because I wanted this to be my doctor. And seriously, that's how powerful the vibes were that were coming off of this guy. And conversely, when we're, I want to say under attack, I don't mean that in a paranoid way. I don't mean that in a delusional way. I mean, when we're sick and trying to get the help we need, and, we've been injured, we're not getting the care we need. Lots of us who've been medically injured, our families, couldn't comprehend what's happening. Our families ended up being against us and ended up harming us while we're in a state of harm, under threat by the medical system. You're medically harmed, and the medical system wants to do something that will harm you. Wants to give you medications that you can't take because they're going to adversely affect your breathing, or they think it's a psych issue when you're in physical medical crisis. So by under attack, I mean realistically. I don't mean delusionally. I mean in ways that you can prove that you're not being supported. And even worse than not being supported, people have done things that have actually been the wrong thing and harmful to you. So can you be giving off really bad vibes when you're under attack, when you're in a situation where you're the victim? And the answer is yes. You can be that raccoon cornered in in the cabin, on the floor, on your hind legs, with your claws out and your eyes wide, and acting in a way that you don't normally act. I've seen all sorts of victims be called a narcissist, be called a liar, be called delusional. And can we give off bad vibes? Yeah, we can. We can. But and how do you not do that? How do you not, when you're in a state of fight or flight, when you're in a state that you need to protect yourself, you're not, some of us are giving off of bad vibes. I was a good patient all my life. I was obedient, compliant, 100% trusting. I've trusted doctors that I didn't even like. I trusted them because they were doctors, and I thought that they could be trusted. I trusted their judgment when their judgment wasn't good. I've trusted doctors who've injured me, and I've gone back and put my full trust in them because I know that people make mistakes. I've trusted people that shouldn't be trusted. I've trusted family members who have burned me over and over again. But it's easy to victim blame people who've been injured, it's easy for people to walk into that situation and blame you because you're in a state of terror. You're angry. You're not your normal self. I've been a good, compliant, trusting patient all my life. And they can make you angry. They can make you distrustful. You can get a new doctor and think, oh God, this patient is so mistrustful. They're so angry. They don't know your history. How do you explain your history? How do you explain to your new doctor, yeah, all my history with this healthcare system, I've been injured, I've been, misdiagnosed. I have a right to be angry and scared and mistrusting. They can make you into something that you're not. And when you're sick and terrified and not sleeping and in pain, you're not your normal self. But it's unfortunate that we can give off terrible vibes when we're in this state of fear and sleep deprivation and pain, and it's sad that we can't necessarily change the vibes that we're giving off when we're so sick, when we're in need of help.